Should I be productive or should I spend all night watching horror movies? What kind of stupid question is that? Well, we are nearing the end of April. I have no idea where the month went, but I have 2 new boxes of horror movies from the fine folks over at HorrorPack. So, as is our way, I'm going to open them up. I've got the DVD pack and the Blu-ray pack. We're going to see what's inside, and hopefully we've got some good stuff. So, let's open them up and see what we've got. Alright, let's start with this one. And there is HorrorPack number 1, which of course means this must be pack number 2. And indeed, there is HorrorPack number 2. Alright, let's start with this one. Looks, based on the ends, like the DVD pack, so let's see what we've got. The first one is Transylmania. According to the description on the back, stoked over the smokin' Romanian hottie he's met online, an uber-randy college student talks his dim-witted friends into joining him for a semester of beer, babes, and bongs at what they think is a prestigious Transylvanian university. What they discover instead is a creepy castle populated by a torture-loving mad scientist, an over-cyber-sexed hunchback, the nubile spirit of a decomposed sorceress, and a bevy of horny vampire chicks that have finally found a student body they can really sink their fangs into. Okay, so clearly this is a horror comedy. I can tell just from the description that this isn't even trying to be a good movie, but I have hopes that it will at least be a funny movie, so it might still be worth watching. That's Transylmania. Okay, and next out of the DVD pack is Blood Orgy of the She-Devils, which sounds awesome just from the title alone. The cover makes it look like a 70s film. Let's see. So yes, indeed, according to my quick web search, it is indeed an early 70s film. It also looks like it was rated PG, which is somewhat disappointing with a title like Blood Orgy of the She-Devils, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a disappointing film. So let's see what the back says. No one can escape the terrifying clutches of Mara, Queen of the Black Witches, who gruesomely sacrifices captive men within the confines of her diabolical castle. With the aid of powerful black magic, reincarnation, and a bevy of maiden disciples, Mara wreaks havoc on her enemies and seeks revenge against those who have tortured and persecuted witches throughout the centuries. The only chance to stop this supernatural siren lies with Dr. Helsford, a parapsychology professor who uses his knowledge of the dark arts to aid 2 potential victims in a fiery battle to the death against the forces of evil. A delirious witch's brew laced with psychic powers, marauding animals, bikini-clad devil girls, and old-fashioned burnings at the stake, this drive-in favorite from independent legend Ted V. Mickles, glimpsed here as a witch killer, takes you on a nightmarish, colorful journey into madness and mayhem. Watch it in a dark room, and Mara might appear to cast a spell on you, too. Interestingly enough, the cover here has a warning that I've never actually seen before, which says, "Warning, the producer warns against indulging or experimenting in occultism or the psychic sciences," odd use of the word science, occultism or the psychic sciences as presented in Blood Orgy of the She-Devils without professional advice. I've never seen that warning before. I'm not going to say whether we should heed the warning or not. It just seems like part of the overall cheese of this sort of package. I like a cheesy movie. I'm hopeful that this one will deliver the right sort of cheese and not end up being just a bad movie. And third out of the DVD pack is The Coed and the Zombie Stoner. It says it's from the dudes who brought you Sharknado. I think the title and that tag tells us really all we need to know about this movie, but I'll read the description anyway. When a nerdy sorority girl falls in love with a zombie, it's only a matter of time before a zombie apocalypse is unleashed on campus. The sorority girl discovers that weed is the cure. Now she must smoke out the entire school before it's too late. Well, what can I say? I enjoyed the Sharknado movies for what they were. The co-ed part sounds intriguing, the stoner part sounds less intriguing to me. But for a horror comedy, again, sounds at least worth a try. And last out of the DVD horror pack is Slaughterhouse Rules. So this movie features Nick Frost and Simon Pegg, who I've always enjoyed. That bodes well. Let's see what the description says. Welcome to Slaughterhouse, an elite boarding school where boys and girls are groomed for power and greatness, and they're about to meet their match. This ancient and ordered world is about to be shaken to its foundations, literally. A controversial fracking site on prized school woodland causes seismic tremors and creates a mysterious sinkhole, unleashing an unspeakable horror. Soon, a new pecking order will be established as the pupils and teachers alike become locked in a bloody battle for survival. So, based on the casting and the description, I'm assuming this is another horror comedy, which seems to have been sort of a trend in this month's DVD horror pack. I enjoy a good horror comedy as much as the next guy, so I'm looking forward to trying this one as well as the other three. So let's look now at the Blu-ray pack, and the first one to come out is Trick. The tagline says, always choose treat. It also says this is from the director of My Bloody Valentine. I'm going to have to check to see if it's talking about the original My Bloody Valentine, which was a great movie, or if it's talking about the remake from several years ago, which wasn't a great movie, although I did like the 3D gags in the 3D version. In any case, with regard to this movie, the description on the back says, witness the birth of a horror legend. On Halloween night in 2015, Patrick Trick Weaver massacred his classmates at a costume party. After being arrested, he managed to escape police custody, but not before being shot 5 times by Detective Mike Denver. Everyone believes Trick must be dead, but when a masked killer reappears the following Halloween, and every Halloween after that, they realize the nightmare is not over. With Trick wreaking havoc and killing people in increasingly terrifying ways, Denver will stop at nothing to finish what he started and bring the carnage to an end. Seems like a good slasher flick sort of premise, very much in the spirit of the Halloween movies, although hopefully just different enough to keep it fresh and interesting. Hopefully good. I like a good slasher movie. I like a good Halloween sort of movie. I have high hopes for Trick. I hope not to be disappointed. Alright, let's have a look at Blu-ray number 2, which is The Last Exorcism Part 2. I actually didn't even realize they had made a Part 2. I did watch The Last Exorcism Part 1, and I rather liked it. Now, the first one, to be sure, was an imperfect film, but I thought it was an interesting sort of marriage between the exorcism, possession subgenre and the found footage format. I'm hoping that this one is also good. Let's see what the back says. Actually, before we see what the back says, let me offer a word of warning that I've just read the description on the back, and it does contain spoilers for the ending of The Last Exorcism 1. So if you haven't seen Part 1 yet, and if you're worried about spoilers, you might skip ahead 30 seconds or so until I've finished reading this description, which says, Nell Sweetser is back in the relative safety of civilization and sent to live in a group home where she's encouraged to leave her past behind and start a new life. Just as Nell settles in, she is tormented by the seductive demonic presence that once possessed her. She realizes that the evil force is back with unimaginably horrific plans, which could only mean that her last exorcism was just the beginning. So, picking up right where the previous film left off, I'm hopeful that it will be interesting. I do love a good possession story, so I'm keen to watch this sequel to The Last Exorcism, even though somehow I didn't even know that they had made one. Alright, and third out of the Blu-ray horror pack for April of 2021 is Resident Evil Degeneration, an original CG motion picture. So this is an animated Resident Evil film. I have not seen this. I have seen all of the live action, at least I think all of the live action Resident Evil movies. Lord knows I've seen a bunch of them. I could have missed one somewhere along the way. I've also played the video games, which I prefer over the movies, although I like the movies too. So let's see what the description says. A zombie attack brings chaos to Harvardville Airport. Leon S. Kennedy and Claire Redfield, who fought the sinister Umbrella Corporation during the Raccoon City tragedy 7 years ago, are back. In high-octane Resident Evil style, they're ready to battle a rogue warrior who is seeking revenge after his family was killed in Raccoon City. The deadly G virus is unleashed and a new mutated monster goes on the rampage. Will Claire and Leon be able to terminate the virus before history repeats itself? So, very much in line with the Resident Evil franchise. I'm not sure how it's going to translate into this animated format, although I do like Resident Evil in both live-action film and in video games, so it seems like the animated one ought to at least have the potential to be good. Hopefully the script is up to the job, and hopefully I'll end up liking it. So I'm looking forward to giving this one a try as well. And lastly, we have Muck. This is the HorrorPack limited edition Blu-ray. This is limited edition number 58, according to the spine. This is not a film that I'm familiar with, but according to the description on the back, this throwback horror film just raised the hacked-up bar. Horror legend Kane Hodder and Playboy Playmate of the Year 2012 Jacqueline Swedberg star in this scary, sexy indie shocker. Casting sounds impressive so far. Let's see, scary, sexy indie shocker that joins a group of friends just as they emerge from the thick, murky darkness of the marshes, tattered, bloody, and lucky to be alive. But they will soon find out that the lucky ones are already dead. Muck is packed with old-school gore effects and brutal stunts without any CGI or apologies. Yes, that is exactly what I wanted. This sounds like a love letter to the classics of the genre. I'm hopeful that it lives up to what it's promising in the description, but practical gore effects, Kane Hodder, Playboy Playmate of the Year, everything about it sounds very promising. I am certainly looking forward to popping this into the player and giving it a try. This might be the one I watch tonight. Well, that does it. 8 more horror movies for my collection. They certainly look promising. It seems like we're focused more on horror comedy in the DVD pack this month and more classical sort of horror in the Blu-ray pack, but they all look at least promising, so I'm going to go watch them. And so, as I hasten to go make some popcorn and start my horror movie marathon, I leave you, as always, with the instructions to take care and stay scared.